presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And Cardinals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. We're in San Francisco, and tonight kicks off the most important road trip of the year. It's game number 1, the Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants. The Giant fans woke up after seeing their team swept in San Diego. Headline in the Chronicle, St. Louis, San Francisco series is huge after sweep. Why? Well, look at the NL wildcard race. A win tonight by St. Louis, and the Cardinals would be tied with the Giants. Jim Hayes is here. That's Tim McCarver. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. No other way to put it, Tim. This is a huge series.
And if this series lives up to its billing, it's going to be tough to watch. So how can something enjoyable be tough to watch? Wait and see.
Should be a lot of fun. It's going to be great. Playoff atmosphere here at the ballpark. Johnny Cueto, Buster Posey, Adam Wainwright, and Yadier Molina. The stars are here. Baseball coming up.
road trip of the season starts tonight. It begins in the Bay, heads through the Rocky Mountains, and wraps up in the friendly confines of Chicago. St. Louis is down to their last 5 chances. 5 series remaining on their quest to return to the playoffs for a 6th straight year. 17 games to go. St. Louis is playing meaningful baseball once again in September, the 7th time in the last 8 years. It all starts with San Francisco. This series isn't technically part of the playoffs, but it might as well be, as these two franchises have a long, rich history of playoff hostility. From Forrest versus Leonard, to Clark versus Oquendo, from Crudale to Lofton, to Holiday versus Scooterville. These two teams have represented the NL in the Fall Classic 5 of the last 6 years, and they have several players who are hungry to return to the big stage. Game 1 is Wainwright versus Cueto. 2 players who have shined on baseball's biggest stage, and 2 players who will do whatever it takes to get back. The crucial 4-game set in San Francisco starts now, and it can only be seen right here on Fox Sports Midwest.
St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who go the extra mile. By Chevrolet, visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Gorgeous night in San Francisco. It is cool, 56 degrees. Jim Hayes, Tim McCarver, Dan McLaughlin with you from beautiful AT&T Park, where tonight they have their 480th regular season sellout in a row. What a place.
I'll say, and what a scene.
A look at the Cardinals lineup. Matt Carpenter followed by Jed Jerko, who gets the started short. Aledmus Diaz will be on the bench. Steven Piscotty, Brandon Moss, Yadier Molina, Johnny Peralta, center fielder Randall Grichuk, Colton Wong, and the pitcher, he could swing the bat. He's had a good year at the plate. That is Adam Wainwright. This man has had a good year on the mound, and that is Johnny Cueto. Beat the Diamondbacks in his last start. He allowed 2 runs on 3 hits in 7 innings. He's a 15-game winner.
Prior to this season, Madison Bumgarner, the ace starter of the Giants, and I guess you'd have to say that Mad Bum still is, that's the case. But Cueto, 15-5 on the year, a 2.90 earned run average, and the Cardinals will miss Bumgarner, who starts on Monday of next week.
Let's turn to Tim's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, it's pretty easy. I mean, the Cardinals are 15 games over, 43-28 on the road, and 8 games under 500 at home. I know this sounds strange, but it's almost as though if the Cardinals do get to the postseason, they want to be underdogs. They almost want to open on the road all the time. I mean,
you'd rarely, if ever, say that, but this year you might.
Yeah.
So the first pitch is strike by Johnny Cueto to Matt Carpenter. Both teams really struggling offensively in the 3 games against the Cubs. Cardinals scored only 5 runs. Those 5 runs all came via the home run. 0-2 the count on the Cardinals leadoff man. Carpenter at first base tonight.
That's that quick pitch from Johnny Cueto. His first wind up with a curveball was normal, but then 2 quick pitches. You can see right there. He rarely picks that left foot up that high.
He evens it up at 2-2. Always giving the hitter a different look with the type of delivery that he has. Doesn't walk many, a lot of strikeouts. And as we mentioned, a very good first season here in San Francisco. The 2-2. And a swing and a miss by Carpenter. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Angel Pagan, another injury-plagued season for him. He's in left. Denard Span is in center. Hunter Pence in right. Eduardo Nunez at third. Crawford, very good one at short. Joe Panik at second, Brandon Belt at first, and Buster Posey is behind the plate. Here's Jed Jerko, and he hits it out to right field. Pence backing up for the catch. You know, Tim, this is a Cardinals team that leads the National League in home runs. They are dependent in many ways with the home run to provide their offense, and you think about the cool nights in this ballpark, you may not see many home runs hit in this series.
Even though the wind is blowing out in right field, it should be tougher to pull a ball in left field if you're a right-handed batter and to hit it out in left. This is one of the toughest parks in baseball in which to hit home runs, and the Giants proved that by their paltry offense in the second half of the season.
It's amazing. The Giants are 20-35 here in the second half. Worst record in baseball since the break. They had the best record before the break as Piscotty rounds out to short. So 1-2-3 for Johnny Cueto. Adam Wainwright to the mound when we come back. The Brewers in his last start allowed 1 run in 8 innings in an eventual 5-1 win over Milwaukee. His record stands at 11-8.
I think the disturbing part about that little notice right there was 300 that left-handers are hitting against Reno.
The switch hitting Angel Pagan leads it off, followed by Joe Panik and Buster Posey. Then Hunter Pence batting cleanup, Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, Eduardo Nunez, Denard Span, and the pitcher Johnny Cueto. Well, Bruce Bochy, he is one of the game's best, and he's just trying to figure out any way to get a win.
In his 22nd year as the manager of a major league team, 12 years with San Diego, his 10th for the Giants.
Tim mentioned the offense of the Giants, and some of these guys are in a bad run. Here's one of them. Last 13 games, Pagan hitting 137.
The only guy who's not is Hunter Pence.
And he comes in riding an 8-game hit streak. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. We'll see if it's the case tonight, but Doug Eddings, his strike zone, the home plate umpire, will benefit someone that throws low in the zone and it's fairly wide.
Liberal in a liberal area.
That's one way to put it. Tim, in all your years, you can't talk politics.
I'm not well.
During a
if you can't talk politics now, when can you? It's the middle of September, an election year. Come on, got to kid around with them.
Here's a 1-2 pitch by Wainwright, and a ground ball, softly hit. That's fair, and Carpenter takes it himself.
That ball came very, very close to hitting the bag.
Around the horn, presented by Dobbs. Moss, Grichuk, Piscotty, that trio in the outfield. Peralta, Jerko on the left side of the infield, Wong and Carpenter on the right side, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. It's the old school look of Adam Wainwright, a sanitary sock, the stirrup pulled up high just below the knee, the pants.
Yeah, for those of you who may not know, that the white sock underneath the red, white, and blue socks, that's called a sanitary sock. Sanitaries. They're distributed by the clubhouse guys. The visiting clubhouse director. For years, the visiting clubhouse guy here in San Francisco was Murph.
Hit to the right side, handled by Colton Wong, ranging to his left to get Joe Panik.
You and I were talking before the game. Murph and Willie Mays are the best of friends, and Murph now in the Giant clubhouse, and Willie comes, when he comes to the ballpark, he sits in Murph's office and watches both feeds, both the Cardinal feed tonight and the Giant feed. The best player I ever played against or saw.
Is it even close?
Well, yeah, Henry Aaron.
Where does Stan rank for you? Line drive into right and a base hit by Buster Posey.
I don't think I've ever been asked that before, but Stan Musial with 3,630 hits, 1,815 on the road and at home. Where does he rank among the hitters? Mays could do everything. Mays could throw. Stan couldn't throw. Stan could run, was an excellent base runner, and perhaps the greatest low ball hitter in the history of the game. I think I'd choose Stan fourth. Behind Mays, Aaron, Frank Robinson, Stan. That's how.
Pretty select company. Now that is a unique way to wear the uniform, as Hunter Pence has it the pant leg pulled above the knee. He's a unique looking player, to say the least, in just about everything he does. How he throws, hits.
You talked about Doug Eddings, the home plate umpire. That gives him a better shot at a low pitch on a guy like Pence. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm serious also.
1 ball, 1 strike. Pence hitting .516 during this 8-game hitting streak with 6 extra base hits. There's a look at your umpires. The crew chief is Laz Diaz. That's hit out to deep left, a hanging breaking ball, and make it a 9-game hitting streak. Hunter Pence with a 2-run shot. Giants on top.
That is the second curveball that Wainwright has thrown. Bell tie to an unorthodox and yet very strong hitter. Very strong.
12th home run for Hunter Pence, and it brings in Brandon Belt. Belt hitting .272, 15 home runs. And he's driven in 72. The 15 home runs, the most on this club. The 1-1.
It's really amazing. And the Cardinals with 7 players with 15 home runs or more on their roster. And yet Belt leads the Giants with 15 home runs.
Of concern for the Cardinals in Adam Wainwright, first innings this year. He's had issues getting out of that first unscathed. There's the cutter and a strikeout, his first of the night. A 2-out base hit by Posey to right. Hunter Pence home run to left. 2-0 Giants. Hunter Pence when he missed 48 games with a right hamstring strain. Well, he's healthy here in September, and he connects with a 2-run homer. The Giants this year, not a very good offensive club. Clearly you see that. 3 players to watch out for in this series. Hunter Pence, he's done some damage. Posey has done damage in his career against St. Louis. That pitch is popped up into shallow center off the bat of Brandon Moss. Denard Span with the catch. And then also on that list, Derek Law just activated from the DL, and they feel he could be a difference maker for a struggling bullpen. They think he's got closer stuff, potentially a closer in the future. And the second half of this Giants season has been a little bit of a nightmare for them. 20-35, worst in baseball. The blown saves, most in the National League with 27, and they've only hit 120 home runs. Here's Yadier Molina. 1 ball and 1 strike. Molina breaks his bat with a ground ball that's hit to third. Nunez to Belt for out number 2. With MLB.TV Premium, watch every out-of-market game live in high definition on more than 400 supported devices. And you'll enjoy a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Brings in Johnny Peralta, who is 0 for his last 8.
Talk about Adam Wainwright in the first inning. You can talk about the Cardinals offensively. First time through the order. They haven't done a lot first time through the order in a month. You think about it. They were no hit in 8 innings against the Cubs on Monday. Then they were shut out yesterday. 2 2-run homers avoided the sweep on Tuesday. They need to get that offense going also. But just too many swings at bad balls. Now I know Cueto is very coy out there, but the Cardinals too many swings at bad balls the second half of the season this year.
1 ball and 2 strikes as Cueto, like to see he got his spike caught in the dirt or in the pitching rubber, but the odd delivery to the plate.
And that ball is alive. That is not the way he normally does it. At least he had the wherewithal to throw the ball up out of the strike zone.
And he can laugh about it.
Since nothing happened.
You're right. The 2-2 in the dirt. Cueto, the former Red, has a 2.49 ERA against the Cardinals in 12 starts dating back to the start of the 2011 season. Cardinals know him well. He knows St. Louis well. Peralta lines it to short. Crawford, what a play. Our score 2-0 Giants. There's a look at Aledmys Diaz not in the starting lineup this evening. With more on that, let's check in with Jim.
Dan, Mike Matheny said it's just a chance to give Aledmys a little bit more rest, and it has absolutely nothing to do with his injured thumb. Matheny said watching the game last night, it was apparent that Diaz was dealing with fatigue in his body. The injured area was fine. Mike said they'll give him another look tomorrow and reevaluate. Mike also said Alex Reyes will get the start on Sunday. Jaime Garcia will go to the bullpen. Mike said of Reyes, he continues to impress us no matter what situation we put him in. And Dan, they feel that he gives them their best shot to win.
Jim, did you have the chance to visit with Jaime?
Yeah, he admitted he was disappointed, but give him credit because he said all the right things. He said, if that's where they need me, I'll be ready to go. Jaime Garcia, Dan.
All right, Jimmy, thank you. Here is Brandon Crawford. Sensational play in the top of the second. We got to the ballpark early. Three of us arrived, and we look out into the bullpen, and there's Alex Reyes throwing.
Yeah, we knew then that he was going to be the starting pitcher on Sunday, and it's the right move. No question in my mind, it's the right move.
2-2 the count. Becomes a little easier too, Tim, to make that move with the return of Waka yesterday to the bullpen, and the eventual return of Trevor Rosenthal to the bullpen as well.
Right. Yeah, the bullpen is much more bolstered now than it was a month ago.
The 2-2. Remember when Brandon Crawford used to be all glove, no bat? Can't say that anymore.
To the point where Bruce Bochy and the Giants were very worried about him, not thinking he could hit big league pitching. Boy, has that changed.
3-2 pitch. Tapped foul. Many of you know the story. Brandon Crawford grew up in the area. His father was a season ticket holder, and a famous picture in the front of the paper when they thought they were moving to Tampa Bay is a young Brandon Crawford holding up a sign as a boy, "Please save the Giants."
He was about 7 years old at the time.
3-2 pitch. Ooh, doesn't get the call, and it's a leadoff walk. First walk issued by Adam Wainwright, and it brings in Nunez. All-star this year, acquired by the Giants from the Twins back in late July.
A guy with 36 stolen bases, that is with the Twins and the Giants. He has 9 with the Giants. Guy's a pretty good ball player. And normally you don't see teams at the trading deadline trade guys with that much speed.
Hit up the middle, past Wong and into center field. Crawford will stop at second, and the first two have reached. Nunez hadn't played since Sunday because of a back issue, also a sore oblique, so back in there tonight, and it brings in Denard Span.
That's a good play by Randall Grichuk, getting to the ball in a hurry and making the throw. That's what stopped the runner, Brandon Crawford, when he rounded second base. He said, uh-oh, Grichuk got to that ball in a hurry, I better stop. And that could change the texture of this inning with the 8th place and 9th place hitters up with nobody out.
One of the lineup changes for Bruce Bochy is dropping Span from the leadoff spot to the 8th position in this lineup.
Right, and you don't want to bunt here because you've got the pitcher, Johnny Cueto, if the bunt's successful. He's on deck.
Span is just 3 for his last 47. Runners at first and second. Crawford, the walk to start the inning, base hit by Nunez. That's hit out of play. They've gone from the best record in the first half of the season to now the worst record in Major League Baseball. Second half.
If that remains the same, they'll be the first team in the history of the game, or the history of the game since the All-Star game, where the first half of the season was the best and the second half was the worst.
Here's a 1-1.
First All-Star game was 1933, and that was the first time that they really, for the most part, segmented the seasons, the first half, second half.
Look at your Hyundai pitch arsenal for Adam Wainwright. The fastball, cutter, curve, and change.
I wonder how Denard Span can hit like that, Dan. That pigeon-toed right foot.
I don't recall seeing him hit like this. This is new. Then he crouches down low. A lot of movement.
Yeah. Understatement to call that unorthodox.
3-2. Watch the right leg. There it is. Turns it back in towards Molina.
Looks like it hurts, doesn't it?
It does. This battery, the all-time leader in games. Adam Wainwright, Yadier Molina in terms of pitcher and catcher. Recently passed my partner Tim McCarver and Bob Gibson on that list.
I don't think you send the runners here because Span has enough speed to beat a ball out unless it's hit directly at Jerko in this situation. Plus you've got Cueto on deck and he's going to be bunting first and second anyway. So they won't be running, I don't think.
They're not running, and the 3-2 is tapped slowly. Carpenter to second, and he gets the out.
Good play. Matt Carpenter took a bit of a chance. Thing is, Edward Nunez, we talked about how fast he gets down. He actually clears the pathway for Carpenter to make the throw by sliding. Had he gone in standing up, which is what Eddie Stanky used to teach all the time, if you're the runner at first and the ball's hit weakly to the right side of the infield, go into second base standing up, thereby making it difficult to see for the shortstop who's receiving the ball.
It's a good point. You never see it either.
No.
Here's Johnny Cueto. Now he has 10 sacrifices on the year. Runners at first and third.
One thing you don't want is safety squeeze. The Cardinals were burned by that in the second game of last year's best 3 out of 5 playoffs against the Cubs when Jaime Garcia was on the mound. I think the Cardinals learned a lesson then. It's a safety squeeze, and the runner at third doesn't run unless the ball's on the ground.
Runner goes on a 1-0. It's bunted foul. Well, a lot of different things that Bruce Bochy can do here in this situation.
I don't think any other manager did this until Joe Madden showed how easy it was to fool the defense with a simple play like this.
A ball and a strike on Johnny Cueto. Not running, bunt attempt, and a strike, and now there's 2 strikes on Cueto. Johnny is 7 for 63 this year. That's a 111 average. No home runs. He is driven in 4.
One thing pitchers try to stay away from in this situation is the curveball. The curveball much easier to bunt than the fastball.
And even with 2 strikes, he may still be bunting.
Maybe.
He is, and that's out. And the second strikeout for Adam Wainwright. Little things like that in the National League that add up.
Oh, yeah. The thing about Cueto, he's one of the leaders in sacrifices with 10 on the year.
So runners at the corners and back to the top of the lineup in Angel Pagan. Grounded out to first, and he's 0 for 1. One point he missed 11 games and then 18 games as he has dealt with a sore hamstring this year. The first pitch is taken for a ball.
I remember Charlie Manuel, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, saying that every major league manager is at the mercy of the medical staff. And boy, is that ever true.
Yes.
In this age of long-term contracts, no one-year deals. Now you get guys missing games with strained backs. Strained backs. What?
A fly ball into center, and there is Grichuk. So no damage done. The Giants will strand 2. We played 2. It's 2-0.
My back feels strained.
Baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. By your local Volkswagen dealer. And brought to you by Bank of America. Life's better when we're connected. Grichuk, Wong, and Wainwright. 7, 8, and 9 for St. Louis. 2-0 our score. And Grichuk lines it out to left field, and that is over the head of Pagan into the wall. Randall digging for second base, and in there safely with a double.
The biggest problem that Randall Grichuk has in the major leagues is to identify a strike. He identified a strike. I don't think Randall realizes how quick his hands are. Lightning fast through the zone. First hit, first base runner for the Cardinals here in the third.
Here's Colton Wong, who is 2 for 19 on the just completed homestand.
Branch Rickey was an advisor to Bing Devine, the general manager back in the early 60s. Came to the Cardinals, I believe, in 1961 for the second time.
Little tapper hit to the right side. Belt flips to Cueto for the out.
And his mantra was 3 little words, a good ball. 3 little words, and I mean he would hammer it in your head. And that's how you learn. You heard it every day to the point where you got sick of it.
But the point was made.
It was made. 3 little words, a good ball. Get a good ball to hit.
Here's Adam Wainwright. 11 hits this year. 9 have gone for extra bases. 6 doubles, a home run, a triple. His average at .204. He'll be in the running for the Silver Slugger. It looks like Jake Arrieta will probably get it. starter and the Cy Young Award winner a season ago with the Chicago Cubs, but it's been a good year at the plate for Wainwright.
That's why it was a good move by Wong to get the runner to third base. Normally you wouldn't do that with the pitcher coming up.
Last start against the Cardinals, Johnny Cueto back in early June was the only Giant in that series to win a game as the Cardinals took 2 of 3. The 1-0. So you think about the importance of this series. Cardinals are 1 back of San Francisco in the wild card. If they would split in the series, the Cardinals would have home field advantage if these two teams finish with the same record in possession of those 2 wild card spots.
But as we mentioned earlier, I'm not too sure that's a big deal for the Cardinals. I mean, they're a much better road team than they are home team.
Wainwright pops it up on the infield. And the catch is made by Nunez. Well, next time you're looking for Cardinal seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love, whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today.
Adam Wainwright has had such a good year with the bat. I mean, think about this, folks. How many times have you seen a pitcher get up under a ball, pop it up, and then slam his bat to the ground when he doesn't hit it effectively? That's what just happened.
Here's Carpenter, struck out his first time up, and a pitch in the dirt. Good catch, partner, and that's a guy that's pretty upset with a pitch I'm sure he felt he could handle.
Right.
As a leadoff hitter, Matt Carpenter's on-base percentage is .392. Anywhere else in the lineup, it's not even close. Just one of those things he loves to hit from the top spot in the lineup. One ball and 1 strike.
That was that liberal strike zone you're talking about with Doug Eddings. You can see that Posey's glove was about 3 or 4 inches inside off the plate. Cueto hit the glove and Eddings gave him the strike.
Cueto has elected to work from the stretch. Quick pitch to Carpenter, and it's taken low. 2-1 the count.
Yeah, most pitchers deceive with their arm. Cueto is one of the few that can and does do it differently. He does it with his body as much as he does his arm.
As mechanical as the game is today, it can be fun to watch a player like this do something different.
It's so unusual for hitters to face a guy like this.
No doubt.
You don't know what he's going to do.
I mean, you think about it today, Tim. We talk about with pitchers, well, the tall and fall, and you got to have your arm angle here. This
like
is the way,
Michael Wacha.
Right. This is the way it's supposed to be done. Well, he's kind of the anti-establishment with that.
Yeah. Just the opposite.
Finished up last year with Kansas City. So you're going to look at the numbers with 2 outs and runners in scoring position for Carpenter. Picked up a World Series ring and then picked up a nice contract from the Giants. 3-2. Always loud here in San Francisco, and here they come. In the dirt. So the first walk issued by Johnny Cueto, and it brings in Jerko, who lined to right his first time up.
That's the thing about Cueto. He wanted no part of Matt Carpenter. If Carpenter was going to make an out there, it was going to be on a ball out of the strike zone. Take his chances with Jerko.
A team high 26 home runs hit for Jed this year. 19 since the All-Star break.
his former team, the Padres, swept the Giants. The series had just completed last night. Cueto, base hit into center, and the Cardinals get on the board. That's now 2 hard hit balls by Jed in this game.
3 little words: a good ball. Slider hanging out there, and Jed Cueto drives in his 52nd run. Think about that: 26 home runs, 52 RBIs. Most of his RBIs, of course, coming on home runs. Most of them, not all of them.
Tim, that's the first base hit for the Cardinals with a man in scoring position in 5 games.
Oh boy. That's alarming. Of course, they haven't had many in scoring position either in 5 games.
That's the other way to look at it. Got to get on to score.
No hit for 8 innings again on Monday by Kendrick of the Cubs. Shut out by Lester yesterday. Left-hander who's probably, I would say, the front runner for the Cy Young Award.
I think he'll be in that conversation. He's right there. I was looking at Scherzer's numbers with the amount of innings. He's the only starter over 200, all the strikeouts, playing on a club that's headed to postseason play.
Yeah.
And you never know, Hendricks might be getting votes instead of Lester.
That's true. Hendrick, a half run better than anybody else in the game as far as earned run average is concerned.
You figure these guys got 2, maybe 3 more starts before the season is through.
You know, there's sometimes that catchers draw a blank. Sometimes you put down a finger and say, what am I thinking about? I'm not kidding you. You know, I mean, you put down so many fingers. Is that right? So you call timeout yourself, go out and talk to your pitcher and say, look, erase everything. Let's start from scratch. That's what Posey and Cueto are doing.
1 ball, 1 strike on the Cardinals right fielder. Again, time is called.
Scotty, a low ball hitter, likes the ball away. National League pitchers, when they've had success with Steven, they've gotten 2 strikes and then gone upstairs on him around the letters. Down there, he'll beat you.
Runners at first and second. The 2-1 pitch. Piscotty played in his 200th major league game yesterday, and since 1980 he has the 4th most hits for a career starting with 200 games at the Cardinals. Number 1 on that list, Albert Pujols. Piscotty at 216, and he waves at it and strikes out. So the second strikeout for Johnny Cueto, a 2-out RBI base hit by Cueto, and the Birds are on the board. Base hit by Jed Jerko, and it's now 2-1. You can be among the first people to see Fox's new drama Pitch, Monday, September 19th at 6:30. Fox 2 and Fox Sports Midwest present a free advanced screening inside Ballpark Village on the Fox Sports Midwest Live TV. The free giveaways and the Cardinals game from Denver follows the show. That's Monday at 6:30 at Ballpark Village.
That's an unusual way to continue your day of baseball, isn't it?
You get off of work, go watch the drama, and then start watching us on Fox Sports Midwest with the Cardinals and the Rockies. Panic fights it off, but that'll be caught. Soft liner. Jed Jerko is there for the first out.
You love to see Adam Wainwright come inside on any hitter. Keeps him from reaching out over the plate. Makes that outside fastball on the corner much more effective.
Buster Posey, that was only his 5th hit in 24 at-bats against Adam Wainwright. Back in the first, a base hit to right, then scored on the 2-run homer. People are questioning, Tim, as you know, what's going on with Buster Posey. He's gone now 178 at-bats without a home run. Is he hurt? And even his manager asks him, and Buster Posey says, I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, some of that is taking its toll from catching. And Yadier Molina has kept his average up, entering the game hitting .290. But his power production is down. And you're going to find that with catchers. Posey's going to hit like that all day. Right field the first time, middle of the field his second time up. But there is no question that his power numbers are down, and catching every day. They tried to relieve it. I mean, Trevor Brown has 55 starts behind the plate. They'll move Posey to first base.
Brings in Hunter Pence, former Astro, former Philly, and now with the Giants. He's unique in every kind of way. He chokes up on the bat. He uses 1 batting glove, not 2.
His plate coverage is extraordinary. First inning, hanging breaking ball. He didn't miss it. 2-run homer.
All your years doing postseason play, and a lot of times he was in the middle of it. Did you ever have the chance to have an extensive, long conversation with Pence?
Not really, but I mean, during the postseason on the networks, you have to almost get an appointment with certain players.
He's unique.
He is unique in every way, and a real leader of this ball club. Don't think because of his unorthodox methods that he can't play the game. He can. I mean, you've got to crowd him with the fastball, but his plate coverage, what he does with those long arms, he creates a wider plate for himself. Plate's not 17 inches wide as Hunter Pence. It's like 21, 22 inches wide.
Here's a 1-2. Went with the slider, maybe trying to get him to reach, roll over on a ground ball. It's a ground ball staff, but yet not a lot of range on the infield, which can be a concern, obviously. 2-2 the count on Pence.
Another slider.
Well, does Bruce Bochy want to start the runner here?
I would.
3-2, 1 out. Posey, a runner at first base.
When you start the runner, what you're depending on is the hitter to put the ball in play. Another slider away.
Not running. Ground ball, should be 2. Nice play by Colton Wong. How good of a play was that? Backhanded and know where you're at on the field.
That was a beauty, and not sending Buster Posey cost the Giants. Great play.
Action, the last regular season game, Sunday, October 2nd. Fan Appreciation Weekend concludes with all fans receiving a Cardinals magnet schedule, courtesy of Shelter, as well as a free ticket voucher for next season. Kids 48 inches and under receive a ticket to Six Flags. And that's at cardinals.com/promotions. Here is Brandon Moss, and he takes an off-speed pitch low. Moss has 87 hits this year. 46 of those have gone for extra bases. Quick pitch again by Cueto, and this time it's a strike. We pulled into the ballpark today, and we noticed the new statue outside AT&T, Gaylord Perry. And happy birthday to Gaylord. Turned 78 today.
Should have been a fountain instead of a statue. He threw so many spitters. Well, he did. He wrote a book about it.
Yes, he did.
Said the reason. The tribute to Gaylord Perry right there. That boy, Tom. Tom Mee, our director.
Here's a 2-2. And it's a strikeout of Moss. Chevy Fox tracks, and it catches the corner, it looks like. That statue is right by Orlando Cepeda's, and Cepeda will be our guest tomorrow.
Back in 1968, the Cardinals clinched the pennant in Houston, came to San Francisco, an off day, and Gaylord Perry no-hit the National League champions the next night.
Incredible. A base hit into center. Gaylord threw a no-hitter with the Giants, a couple of Cy Young awards on his resume, and one in each league.
And for those of you who may remember but perhaps have forgotten, the next afternoon, an afternoon game starting at 12:30, last out made by Willie McCovey. Ray Washburn threw a no-hitter for the Cardinals.
That's right.
So in about a period of about 18 hours, 2 no-hitters were pitched by 2 different pitchers of opposing teams. Amazing.
My understanding is that Stretch is at every home game of the Giants. Willie McCovey.
Willie McCovey. Named a cove after him. One of the dearest men ever to play the game.
There's a base hit. Out to left. Pagan can't cut it off. Molina being waved in. Now held up at the last second. Ooh, and the Cardinals catch a break, and Molina is safe at third base.
And the break that they caught was Edward Nunez was the third cutoff man. That's right, the third cutoff man. They had Crawford, the shortstop, out. The second baseman was the second. And Nunez was the third cutoff man, and he missed the throw from Angel Pagan, who bobbled it initially. Now he gets it on the money with the relay, and watch. What Cueto is doing in front of the catcher, I'll never understand.
I was about to say Johnny Cueto's in the wrong spot.
He should be behind the catcher, not in front.
Grichuk up the middle. That's a base hit. This game is tied as Peralta is held up. And again, Cueto in the middle of the field on the cutoff.
It is amazing that a man has been around as long as Johnny Cueto does not know where to go on a ball that's hit with runners in scoring position, hit to the outfield. Molina finally scores. It's a tie ball game, but Grichuk swinging at 2 first pitch strikes tonight. One a double, one a fastball. There's Nunez right there. If he catches that ball, Molina is out, because Molina rounded the bag too far. Unfortunately, gets back to score on the hit by Grichuk.
So the Cardinals have tied it up. Grichuk 2 for 2. His 58th RBI of the season.
Boy, a lot was going on there in a very short period of time, wasn't it, Dave?
Absolutely.
Man.
So runners at first and third. Here's Colton Wong. Grounded out softly his first time up to advance a runner. And see Posey wants it up in the zone. Gets it there for ball 1.
They want a pop up from Colton Wong. May see that pitch again. Hoping Wong swings at it. Being a little over anxious.
Last road trip, Colton Wong was spectacular at the plate. Then defensively earned those starts that he got, and he's seen his playing time increase as we've gone along here in September. Two 2-0 the count. Wainwright on deck. And Wong pops it up into shallow right, and the catch is made by Joe Panic. That's a big out for Cueto.
And Cueto got the over anxious Colton Wong 2 balls later. That's why Posey wanted it up in the strike zone to begin with. He gets it up in the strike zone inadvertently, and Wong pops it up.
So now 2 outs. Runners at first and third. Wainwright popped out with 1 out. Runner at third, back in the third.
Ooh, that was hittable.
Wainwright in his first ever major league at bat homered in this ballpark. Came up in 2005. Taken a little bit low. Here it is as we flash back. And Adam Wainwright, May 24th of 06. That was a pretty special moment for him in 06, but he had some more to come. Closed out the World Series in all 3 rounds in the playoffs. Taps it foul for strike 2.
That's a foolhardy throw to first base. I mean, you've got the pitcher hitting. The guy at first isn't going to be running because if he's thrown out, you got the pitcher leading off the next inning. So why throw over there to begin with?
Two and two. We've talked about it, how tense the situation has been here in San Francisco. The lead. Great first half. Terrible second half. The pressure is on. Now time is called. This is supposed to be their year. It's an even year.
Yeah, they won the World Championship in 2010, 12, and 14.
Strikeout of Adam Wainwright. 2 in the inning, 4 in the game for Cueto. But a base hit by Gritchett to score Molina. This game is tied. There's a look at Jerome Williams and Jim Hayes. This is where it all started for Jerome with the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, you're right, Dana. If you're looking for the Cardinals' young pitchers like Alex Reyes, Luke Weaver, Mike Myers, just look for Jerome Williams. They're always around him as he's been a mentor for them. We had Jerome on the pregame, and he reminisced about his early days as a big leaguer. He was a first-round pick of the Giants. He spent his first 3 seasons here in San Francisco. He said 2 guys really helped him. Catcher Benito Santiago and pitching coach Dave Righetti, who's still with the Giants. He said they'd preach changing speeds and not relying on trying to throw the fastball by everybody. Same thing he's teaching the young Cardinals. Being here, he told me, he realizes he's come full circle. He says he finds joy in helping along the young pitchers. He told me, quote, "That's how baseball is. You pass things down." Dan.
All right, Jimmy, thank you. And there's a look at the longest tenured pitching coach in the game today. And that's Dave Righetti, and he's a good one. This is his 17th season. So Adam Wainwright, it's a new game for him. Tied 2-2. Cardinals fell behind 2-0 if you just joined us, and a home run by Pence. And they've come back with 2 of their own. Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, and Eduardo Nunez for the Giants. Kubota power stats with Belt at the plate. Their team leader in home runs. Then Crawford, Posey, Pagan, and Pence.
We talked often about Colton Wong holding that bat low and having to come up and meet a high fastball. And Belt starts it low also, but he uses it as a timing device to bring it up before the pitch is made. See, he has it low there. There's a big difference. Now watch it go back up. So the point is, when the pitch is on its way, he has the hands elevated and they're ready to get on top of a high fastball. But with Colton has him down near the waist, and as the pitch is on its way, the bat is going up and back. And it's just too much to do before you're going to hit a big league fastball effectively most of the time.
Tim, I used to do Big 12 baseball for years and would go to Texas on many of those weekends for the top team. One of the top teams in the country was Texas. Brandon Belt was a pitcher back then for Augie Garrido. He was one of the top pitchers in the country collegiately and did not have success as a hitter in college. And for the longest time, they thought, the Giants did, that he would be an outfielder. And now he's turned into their everyday first baseman. Earlier this year, they locked him up on a long-term deal.
Yeah.
But baseball is a funny game. I mean, you know,
really
so many
is,
times where a guy is penciled in to be a pitcher, he turns out to be a position player or vice versa. It's crazy. The 2-2.
Close, but low.
Full count. The shift is on. 3 infielders on the right side. Fouled back. Look at this setting of AT&T Park and the big crowds that they have. Closing in on 500 consecutive regular season sellouts, and to think that this team was this close from moving. This would have been the Tampa Bay Giants. Baseball was saved. They build this ballpark, and then a guy named Bonds comes to town.
And this team was owned by a guy named Bob Lurie, who was in town, one of the local investors. Barry Bonds came back. This place exploded. First a Candlestick, and then the first year for this ballpark back in 2000.
Just missed on the inside corner.
That was a bold at bat by Brandon Belt.
There have been 2 issues this year with Wainwright. First inning problems, which he had in this game, and then retiring the first batter of an inning. Leading off an inning, hitters hit .360 against him. The on-base percentage is nearly .400.
Ouch. Wow. Man. Baseball's a game of firsts. You retire the first hitter, your chances dramatically low for the other team to score.
And Wainwright's not getting that outside corner to the lefties. Pitch count at 56. Crawford walked his first time up.
Baseball is just a screwy game at times. I mean, here's a situation where Adam Wainwright wants a double play ball. Now, in order to get a double play ball, he has to throw one that is hit hard enough for a double play to be completed. If it's not hit hard enough, you don't get the double play.
Right. Popped up. Molina looking for a little help. He'll get it with Peralta coming in to make the catch. Ooh, he said. Ball almost snuck out of his glove. supposed to be routine.
Sounded like Pee Wee Herman was your analyst there. Sometimes you're in close ball games, your guttural noises or anything from that to or deep breaths or other things.
Feels like a playoff game here tonight.
It really does.
This time of year, the weather, it's cool in San Francisco. Two teams that really for the last decade plus have been the dominant teams in the league. Bruce Bochy, for my money, he's a Hall of Famer.
No question.
Mike Matheny played here in San Francisco and now is the manager of the Cardinals. Has never missed the playoffs. Here's the 0-1. And that's a fair ball down into the corner. Brandon Belt digging for third, and he'll be held up there.
Good play by Brandon Moss in left field on a tricky carom. And a good relay throw. That Eduardo Nunez, that was a tough pitch he hit. That ball in off the plate away. Watch this play by Moss. Security guard getting out of the way. Brandon hits the cutoff man, Jed Jerko.
So runners at second and third. You have the 8th place hitter here. Then Cueto.
Walking. Where's the discussion? That's what I do.
Now to counter your point, by the way, I agree with you. The Cardinals may be saying, well, he's 3 for his last 48, but to me, it's a no-brainer.
No, I mean, don't take a chance.
You have Johnny Cueto, who is 7 for 64 on deck.
Yeah.
So it'll be the second walk in the inning, 3rd in the game, and the 1st intentional.
Sometimes when you're making a move, as to, I'm sure Mike Matheny understands all of that, is you think about what the other manager would think if you don't walk him. And I think you've got to say, Bruce Bochy is saying, boy, I hope they pitch to him. So that's how you make a decision. I mean, that's the right move one way or the other. With Cueto hitting. Now you're Bochy and you wonder, what do I do? Roberto Kelly's down to talk to Cueto. But usually with the bases loaded, it's not a good time to bunt because you have a force at home plate and not have to make the tag.
Cueto was up to bunt back in the second with runners at 1st and 3rd and could not get the bunt down. Eventually struck out. The corners are in on the infield for the Cardinals.
Gosh, look at Matt Carpenter way in at first base. So the point is they're taking the bunt away from Cueto.
Cueto with a fly ball into right. Catch is made by Piscotty. Here comes his throw to the plate. Not in time. Johnny Cueto makes it a 3-2 San Francisco lead.
Nothing Stephen Piscotty could do. He was too deep. That ball hit too deeply for Stephen to have a play at home plate.
The appeal and safe the call.
I think Bruce Bochy is going to see what develops up to 2 strikes with Pagan. And then if nothing happens, I think he'll send Span and try to get a throw from Molina to get a rundown, because you got speed on at third base. A guy who has 36 stolen bases.
Good point, and it's something that is practiced many times in spring training, but you don't see it very often, but something that could be done in the game.
It's an old AAA play.
Right.
They used to call it a semi-pro play. You try to get the runner at first in a rundown and score the guy from third if he's a fast runner.
1-0 pitch to Pagan, and it's a base hit into center field. Run comes across to make it now a 4-2 Giants lead.
You could see Molina wanted the ball up. Wainwright got it up, and Pagan delivers with an RBI hit up the middle. Cardinals forced to come back again.
So runners at first and second. And here's Panic, who is 0 for 2. Ground ball softly hit to the right side. Carpenter to Waino, who's at the bag. Giants regain their 2-run lead. It's 4-2. Top of the lineup for the Cardinals: Carpenter, Jerko, and Piscotty. Matt Carpenter is struck out and also walked. We talked about the great success the Cardinals have had on the road this year. 43-28. Yesterday's loss at home assured them of a home losing record for the first time at Busch 3. That opened up in 2006, and the first home losing season since all the way back in 1999.
17 years. Yeah.
Carpenter with a fly ball. Left field, Angel Pagan puts it away for the out. Of issue for the Giants here in the stretch run, not only the lack of offense, but also who closes a game out and their bullpen in general. It's been a mess for the Giants here in the second half.
Normally dependable Santiago Casilla has coughed it up recently, as has Sergio Romo, their setup man. So Bruce Bochy, I mean, every team has their problems. The Cardinals problems at home, and the Giants problems at home on the road. On the other hand, the Mets tonight have an off day. Mets in a very strong position also.
1-2 the count.
The thing to keep in mind, folks, is that 2 of the 3 teams among the Giants, Cardinals, and Mets are going to be the guys in the positions of playing that 1-game playoff. 1 game. One will be the wild card team, and the other will be the 5th team selected for the postseason. After 162 games, you play 1 game to see who plays the division leader, which would be the Chicago Cubs in the National League.
From 0-2 to 3-2. Mets on paper the easiest schedule for the 3 teams. On paper.
They have a weekend series against the Minnesota Twins this weekend.
Jerko pops it up on the infield on a 3-2 pitch. Brandon Crawford is there. How about the second half of Brian Dozier, the year of Brian Dozier for Minnesota? Incredible. Second baseman, and closing in on the all-time record for home runs hit by second baseman.
I was talking to Steve Hurd of the Elias Sports Bureau today, and he said that actually Dozier's year has been misreported. He has 41 home runs, but 2 of those came as a DH.
There's a fly ball lifted to right. Johnny Cueto, a 1-2-3, top of inning number 5. Giants on top. It's 4-2. Coverage of Major League Baseball presented by T-Mobile. The Padres, their GM, suspended for 30 days. Some issues with Drew Pomeranz in that trade to Boston. The Chicago Cubs magic number at 1. It'll be John Lackey and Chase Anderson tomorrow. Jay Happ starts tonight at the Angels. Second most wins in Major League Baseball. Rick Porcello. Boston has had a tremendous year.
How about 2 guys that you don't expect to have great years? Jay Happ and Rick Porcello. 2 surprises in the American League or in baseball. You know, good pitchers up to this year, but not 20-game winners.
Remember, Jay Happ was involved with the Phillies deal a couple years ago to bring over Pitcher that was outstanding and a part of their staff but could not stay healthy is Buster Posey. Lifts a high fly ball into right center. Grichuk back, can't make the play, and it's off the wall. Backing up though is Piscotty, and it's a double for Buster Posey, who is 3 for 3. September 30th, kids 15 and younger entering with a ticket receive a growth poster featuring Stephen Piscotty, courtesy of Missouri Farmers Care. Stay in your seats after the game. It's a fireworks night presented by Cooper Tires, and tickets can be found at cardinals.com/promotions. Here's Hunter Pence. And a pitch taken in. You mentioned the lefties, and they've had very good success against Wainwright this year. Tonight, 1 for 9. So that is something positive for Wainwright. And the 1-0. Jay Happ was involved in the Cliff Lee deal.
Yeah.
And so there was a guy that was so well thought of, highly thought of, and maybe now finally putting it together. He finished up last year with Pittsburgh, got back on track with Ray Search, and turned that into a nice deal with Toronto.
Gosh, Cliff Lee just fell off a mountain, didn't he?
Couldn't stay healthy. When healthy, he was so effective, very good.
A precipitous fall.
Yes.
See if Pence is swinging here. I think normally, if he likes it, he can swing.
He was on 3-0 and hits it high in the air out to right. Posey, your runner at second base. The catch is made. Throw by Piscotty. He may get him. He got him. No! The ball comes out of the glove of Peralta. A perfect throw from right fielder Stephen Piscotty.
You don't have to worry about a cutoff man in that situation because there's no other base runner on. So Piscotty can air it out, and he did. And Peralta almost made that tag like a runner was going to bowl him over. It looked like he thought there was going to be a collision. And the only collision was the left knee or right knee of Buster Posey knocked the ball out of the glove. That should be an error. Particularly when the umpire had the out sign up and then had to call it to safe. I mean, that to me is an error.
Infield in.
That should be 2 outs right now.
Not to make excuses, just wondering out loud about the thumb of Johnny Peralta on that ball that, you know, he caught it almost as if it handcuffed him a little bit, but
maybe. Yeah,
the play's got to be made.
That is a valid point.
Brandon Belt has walked and scored and also struck out. Kept in front by Molina. Watched him how he receives the throw here.
Well, that's one situation where you don't need to worry about 2 hands. Those gloves are designed for one-handed catches. You make a swipe tag, not like that. So your positioning can actually be off to the side instead of in the baseline.
Two balls and a strike on Brandon Belt. Curveball that's tapped foul. He evens it up at 2-2. So with the infield drawn in, now 2 strikes on Belt. The Cardinals put 3 infielders on the right side. The 2-2. The bottom line, thumb hurt or not, plays got to be made. Cross Wainwright in the Cardinals and see if he can pitch out of trouble. Outfield is straight away and deep for Belt. Three-two, line to second baseman Colton Wong.
That's why you play the infield in. One of those situations where you want a guy to hit a ball to a drawn-in infielder. It was a line drive, and Wong was there. Break for Wainwright after no break on the drop ball at third base.
Brings in Crawford. Zach Duke starts to throw in the Cardinals' pen. And the curveball is taken in the dirt. It's one of the last ballparks that has a bullpen that is in the field of play.
Of the new ballparks, of course, it's in the field of play at Wrigley Field. It was built in 1914 for play.
Here's a 1-0.
It is a dangerous situation for outfielders.
No question. Pitch count at 82 for Adam Wainwright. 2 balls, no strikes on Crawford. Ground ball. Colton Wong to his right, gobbles it up and makes the play. So Wainwright, no trouble done here in inning number 5, and it's a 4-2 Giants lead. I'd like to congratulate the 2016 members of the Hall of Fame. Carpenter, Moore, Braden, and Torrey. Edward Jones was honored to sponsor the Hall of Fame and the annual induction process. Wayne and Tina Perkins celebrating Tina's 60th birthday with a group of family and friends here at the ballpark tonight. Big Cardinal fans, happy birthday. Here's Brandon Moss, followed by Yadier Molina and Johnny Peralta. On a hop to second, look what I found. Joe Panik in shallow right makes the play.
Sometimes you catch the ball, sometimes the ball catches you. I think that was a situation of the latter. Joe even looked behind him, thinking that ball may have gotten through.
Here's Yadier Molina. This date, 1969. Steve Carlton strikes out 19 Mets. Lost the game. Ron Swoboda hit a pair of home runs. 19 strikeouts. Broke the record of 18, which was held at the time by Sandy Koufax, Bob Feller. And Carlton told me in one of our nights that we had for charity back home in St. Louis about that night. Said he felt awful that he showed up to the ballpark with less than an hour before the first pitch. Wasn't even sure he'd be able to go, but he felt a responsibility to take the ball. And sure enough, he goes out there and strikes out 19 Mets.
I caught that game, and Steve told me later that after he warmed up that night, unexpectedly, he left the bullpen after warming up and looked at his hand. The ball was just jumping out of his hand. And he thought, my gosh, my arm is bionic. That was Lefty's description. And he pitched that night like his arm was bionic, believe me. And those two pitches that night, the Ron Swoboda, were perfect pitches. Yadier Molina does not agree with Doug Eddings. He thought the ball was low.
Always interesting how a catcher argues on a pitch like that.
Now you can't afford to, because you've got to go back out there. On the other hand, you're a competitor, and Yadi is continuing, and that may not be the last that Eddings hears from Molina, because he's got to go back out there.
You got to stay in there for your guy.
Tough situation. Certainly an umpire like Doug Eddings has got to be understanding. I mean, with what this game means to both sides.
Peralta, ground ball hit to short. Throw up the line. The tag is there. We're midway through 6. Molina still screaming from the home plate to the home plate umpire. It's now a 4-2 game.
In about 10 seconds, he's not going to have to scream.
Molina, now the home plate umpire behind the plate. This was moments ago taken to the field. He thought about it, saying something to Doug Eddings. Yeah, the heck with it.
May not be over.
Eduardo Nunez, and strike one.
If Wainwright throws a strike that should have been a strike, then Molina may be run.
On pitch. Could see that this might be the final inning of work for Wainwright. He is due up third. Pitch count at 85. Expanded rosters. You're covered in your bullpen, and right now you're down by 2. That pitch at 74 miles an hour. Wainwright, the Roberto Clemente nominee for his tremendous work in the community. Jake Peavy for the Giants, honored before the game. Hesitation here by Wainwright, and the 1-2. You can go to bigleagueimpact.org to see the great work that Adam has done with his brother Trey. 2-2 at the count. Nunez is 2 for 2. Base hit to center. And a double into the left field corner, and then came around to score back in a 2-run fourth. Pulls it foul. Crowd tonight 41,210. 41210. 480th consecutive sellout. Three-two. High chopper to first. Wainwright to the bag and out. Laz Diaz, the crew chief, with the call.
Adam Wainwright needed all 6-7 of that frame of his to get that out. Nunez could fly and was flying down the line, but he didn't get out of the batter's box very well. Carpenter a good toss. Adams size 14.5 also coming in handy.
Very close.
Yeah. What?
Here's Denard Span. Now, we talked about the situation the Cardinals had with Span up, runners at second and third, and only one out. Cardinals intentionally walked Span, pitched to Cueto, picked up a sac fly, and then had to pitch to Pagan, and he singled to center with 2 outs. You can see it both ways. You know, are you going to pitch to 8 and 9, or do you extend the inning to 1?
You got to make a decision. And you make a decision. They walked him, and that was the proper move to make. And Pagan was the culprit, not Cueto. I mean, Cueto drives in the go-ahead run. Got to make a decision. What are you going to do? Say, well, maybe you walk and maybe you don't. Maybe you do. You know.
Base hit to left by Span.
That's a second guesser's delight. I mean, you know, managers, they got to ignore people who say, well, you know, maybe you could have. I mean, you can't do that if you're in a position of making decisions. You got to make it now and stick with it.
Zach Duke up and throwing for the second time. Here's Cueto, has 10 sacrifices this year. Span with 12 stolen bases on the season. Squares to bunt and looks at a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. .95 on the night. 12 pitches here in the 6th inning for Wainwright. Cueto bunts it in the air, and the catch is made by Molina.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking, folks. You're thinking, why not drop it? Well, the reason is Molina wasn't in fair territory. And then if he is in fair territory, that ball had so much spin on it that if it did hit the ground, it's going to either go foul or go off Molina. Watch. Yachty thought about it. That ball would have come down in foul territory, however, and then spun foul. Just strike 2.
And so with that, there's now 2 outs and a runner at first, and here's Angel Pagan. A base hit to center back in the 4th, picked up an RBI, his 48th. He's flied to center and also grounded out to first. Hit to the right side. Wong gloves, throws, and safe at first.
Boy, what a play by Wong. My gosh. And he ended up in the Cardinal bullpen, for crying out loud. Pagan just beat the play, but watch Wong and watch how long he ranges to his left, makes the throw. Pagan was safe, an infield hit, but a great play nonetheless.
And you also keep the runner at second, not at third.
Good point, yep. Yeah, Span can run, so he certainly would have been to third base. Wong did everything he could.
So this will be a double switch for Mike Matheny. That'll be it for Adam Wainwright on the night. Zach Duke coming on to face Joe Panik. This will be our Chevy call to the pen. Lefty Zach Duke. He is 3rd in Major League Baseball in appearances. This is his 73rd. The 5th lowest ERA since August 1st in all of baseball. Part of the double switch is Greg Garcia. Peralta out of the game. Duke goes in that spot in the lineup, and Garcia goes in Wainwright's spot. He'll be due up 3rd in the 7th. Joe Panik at the plate. Grounded out to second. Hit a soft liner to short and also grounded out to first over 3 tonight.
Dan, I'll tell you, it's very difficult for the right side of any left-handed hitter to hang in there against Zach Duke when he drops down. Boy, he is tough. Tough on lefties.
And yet the average is under 200 from the righties.
Go figure.
1 ball and 1 strike. He's got a couple of different arm angles that he'll use against the lefties. That's nasty right there.
That's the over the top slider. The pitch before was when he dipped down toward first base and threw that slider. It's a different rotation.
And now the 1-2. There it is. He drops down again. This is kind of the under the radar trade the Cardinals made, and it's been a good one. Wainwright looked none too pleased about being taken out of this game. Runners at first and second, and the 2-2. Get out of play. Big gap in right center field. Such a spacious ballpark, AT&T. Left center. Sliding catch by Moss to take the hit and RBI away. So Panic is hitless in 4 plate appearances tonight. Duke strands a couple, and a nice play by Brandon Moss in left. 4-2 our scores. We head to the 7th. In innings 7, 8, and 9. The Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. The Cardinals, and it's not even close. Plus 63 the differential. It'll be Grichuk, Wong, and Greg Garcia for the Cardinals. This is our Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri.
And Dan, if the Cardinals want to get in the postseason, they're going to have to live up to all of those statistical differentials for the rest of the year.
And to put it in perspective on the other side, the Giants have given up and lost a game when they've had a lead 7th inning or later 14 times this year. That is an awful lot. Low throw, and Grichuk is out. The last Cardinal hit was Randall Grichuk back in the 4th. So 9 in a row set down by Johnny Cueto.
Well, the statistics against the Cardinals, statistics are against the Giants, against both these teams. You think about the Giants, I mean, they beat the San Diego Padres the first 9 games they faced them. 9 in a row. Then they lost 6 in a row in the second half. Go figure. Cardinals can't win at home.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Wong. Hits it off the end of the bat. Drifting back is Span to make the catch. Quickly, 2 outs. Well, Cueto really settled in. That's 10 in a row. His pitch count is only at 75.
Well, you think back in this game, now 6 2/3 innings. You look at the texture of the at-bats by the Cardinals. A lot of first ball hitting, second pitch hitting, making outs 2 pitches. And you look at all the pitches that Adam Wainwright had to throw. The leadoff walk for the inning. Not only the fact that he walked 4, but that leadoff walk, they always seem to score.
1-0 to Greg Garcia. First plate appearance of the night. Cardinals win this game and come back. They're tied with San Francisco. They drop it. They're 2 behind the Giants. The 2-1. One thing that Garcia has done this year, finds a way to get on, but a lot of walks along the way. 2-2. I mean, Tim, he's walking nearly 20% of the time in his plate appearances this year. That's very, very high. Count runs full. The next by Cueto. This at bat, the opposite of what you've been talking about. First pitch swinging.
Yeah.
He grinds through an at bat.
Yeah, these are the types of at bats that are atypical of the other Cardinal hitters. Not Garcia.
3-2. And he strikes out. Didn't like the call. 6 strikeouts for Johnny Cueto tonight. Time to stretch. Giants on top. Fans the chance to see the Cardinals take on the Reds September 26th through the 29th for only $5. Just visit cardinals.com/community-coffee and purchase your $5 tickets today. Posey, Pence, and Belt. Matt Bowman throwing in the Cardinals pen. Posey 3 for 3 tonight. Pair of singles and a double off the wall in right center. 4-2 our score. Pulled foul just past Garcia. So Bowman getting loose. By the way, the Giants are carrying 15 relievers here in September.
6 left-handers, 9 right-handers.
And the 0-2. Been a lot of talk. I heard it last year, again this year, that you may see baseball cut that down in terms of what you can do in September, the amount of pitchers you can carry or players.
I think it should. What do you think?
Totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, for guys to come up in September call-ups, I think the owners would be in favor of it if they could float it by the players union.
I like the idea of this, that you could have these guys in uniform, but then you would make an active roster for each game. So you carry, let's say, 27 or 28 instead of having that many, which has been talked about.
Yeah. Who started that? I don't like that.
You don't like it?
No, I do not.
Well, again, you're wrong. All right, base hit for
Wrong again, Tim. Sorry.
back in the first. Our Nissan drive of the game, a hanging breaking ball, and this made it 2-0 off the bat of Hunter Pence. Bruce Bochy, by the way, will go batter to batter with that bullpen too. I mean, he'll go time and again and make a move for matchups.
With 15 guys in the bullpen and having only 9 outs to get, I guess you can do that.
Yep. His closer is Casilla, and as Tim mentioned, he's had his issues here recently. 0-1 pitch by Duke. Home run for Pence was number 12 this year.
I think Hunter Pence, as much as any hitter in the National League that we've seen, has a premeditated approach to swinging a pitch or not swinging a pitch.
Could be 2 if they get there. The stretch by Wong and out. Nice play by Jerko. And Wong had to act like a first baseman and make the stretch.
Yeah. Actually barehanded the ball, I believe. That is not the way you draw it up in spring training.
You telling me you don't practice this?
No. Oh, it didn't barehand it. He gloved it. Ball through his leg. They'll be laughing about that. If they were winning, there'd be a big laugh. But with the Cardinals down by 2, a conservative laugh.
Very good play, by the way, from Jerko.
Absolutely.
Brandon Belt walked and scored back in the 4th, and that's the one, and we were talking about it between innings, that Wainwright is probably kicking himself with.
Yes.
Leadoff walk.
Yep.
Two and 0.
One thing Belt has done through this anemic batting streak, batting only .212 coming into the game since the All-Star break, he has walked. He's walked 92 times this year. That's the most by a Giant regular since Barry Bonds did it back in 2007. He walked 132 times.
132 walks. 2-1 pitch. And he stayed away.
I think Bonds had 200 walks.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Just missed. So runners at first and second. Belt his second walk in this game, and it brings in Crawford. The highest that Bonds ever had, by the way, was 232. 232 walks.
My gosh.
So first and second, and here is Crawford. He's popped out, grounded out, and walked tonight. Strike one. Tim, you talked about, I mean, look at where that pitch begins behind Brandon Crawford and finishes on the other side of the plate. Be very tough on these lefties. Fly ball, shallow center. Gridget coming on, and he'll make the catch. And with Nunez coming up, Mike Matheny back to his bullpen, and he'll bring in Matt Bowman. So that's it for Duke. Bowman is our Chevy call to the pen. The right-hander for St. Louis. And we'll step aside with 2 runners on, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Matt Moore coverage begins at 8:30. Game 2 of this series tomorrow. And it's our Budweiser What's on Tap. Luke Weaver's done a very nice job since he's been called up.
Yes, he has.
So 2 outs, 2 on. Eduardo Nunez at the plate, who is 2 for 3. Single to center, a double in the left field corner back in inning number 4 and scored. First pitch swung on and missed.
Boy, that is a bad backswing by Eduardo Nunez, being with Minnesota when the Cardinals last faced the Giants. I'm not sure Yadier Molina knew about that. Sometimes a hitter will come up to the plate and say, look, I've got a backswing. He'll alert a catcher for that. But that was really, he let that right hand go, and that almost hit Yadier Molina.
Do you have that before? I mean, where a hitter actually said, hey, watch my backswing?
Oh, yeah. They'll say that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's almost considered an ethical thing to do.
Sure.
To come up and tell a catcher, particularly one who's never experienced a hitter like you or that particular hitter, to say, I've got a backswing, so be careful.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. 1-2.
Good fastball on the inside corner by Bowman.
Hyundai pitch arsenal for Matt Bowman. The fastball, slider, and change. Adam Wainwright With the 4 runs tonight, his road ERA now sits at 6.14. One, two. Ground ball. Wong gets there, and the bases are loaded. Ranging far to his right.
Yeah, it's got to go.
Hit.
It's got to go as a hit. No way that Colton does anything with the ball. As a matter of fact, when a second baseman, had he come up with that ball, the best thing for him to do would be to look at third. Hope that the runner overran third. And that's what Colton did.
How about the range of Colton Wong tonight?
Amazing.
Been everywhere.
Yeah.
Denard Span, 8th place hitter, bases loaded. On base twice, intentional walk back in the 4th, and a single to left in the 6th.
It's wondrous that Denard Span has 10 home runs this year.
It really is.
It blows me away. How?
4 for his last 49. Played with the Twins, was in Washington, and now here in San Francisco. 2 balls and no strikes. This becomes a huge at bat in this game.
Absolutely.
Cardinals have the top of the lineup coming up in the 8th. Base hit into right field. 1 run is in. Here comes another. Throw is cut off. Span at second base, and the Giants add to their lead. It's now 6-2.
Matt Bowman falling behind. Span knew he was going to get a fastball. He got it and did something with it.
San Francisco. Sokolovich is throwing in the pen. 5 of the 6 runs have been scored with 2 outs. Under the glove of Carpenter, Bowman to the bag, and Cueto is out. 6-2 San Francisco. They are a game in front of Baltimore at the start of play, 2 in front of Toronto, 4 in front of the Yankees. Kia in the driver's seat. And the best September-October record. Washington, then St. Louis since 2013. Dodgers and Pirates. Johnny Cueto has sent down 11 batters in a row. After he was given that 4-2 lead, he settled in. At the top of the lineup, Carpenter, Cueto, and Piscotty. Again, first pitch swinging, and that's why the pitch count, even in the 8th, is only at 82. We showed you earlier, Cueto only threw 29 pitches, innings 5, 6, and 7. Changeup taken in, 1 ball and 1 strike. Carpenter is struck out. He has walked and flied out to left. Mention we're on the air tomorrow at 8:30. Weaver and Matt Moore. Game 3. Mike Leake and Jeff Samardzija. As Carpenter rips it into center field, but there's Span. Alex Reyes will get the start on Sunday against Albert Suarez. All 3 of those games upcoming right here on Fox Sports Midwest. So 12 in a row for Johnny Cueto. And it brings in the shortstop, Jed Jerko.
4-run lead in this ballpark seems like more than 4-run lead in most parks.
Jerko with a high fly ball into right. Hunter Pence.
And the reason for that, the last 2 outs. Both hitters, Carpenter and Jerko, hit the ball well, but an out to center and out to right. If you're Cueto, you just dare hitters to put the ball in play. No walks.
BJC Healthcare difference maker since 06. These 2 teams have played the most playoff games, the Cardinals and the Giants, in postseason play.
And the one thing to keep in mind, the Cardinals are not as good this year as they have been the other 5 years. And that is a very important point, I think, particularly with the makeup of the roster right now.
2-0. Piscotty is 0 for 3. Piscotty with a fly ball into right. And the Cardinals go quietly. Here in the 8th, it's all Giants, 6-2. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Joe Madden and the Cubs apparently did not stick around at Wrigley Field to watch the Cardinals tonight in case they could celebrate, because if the Cardinals lose, they clinch.
No, they did not. They figured that somewhere in the next 2.5 weeks they're going to win one game.
Miguel Sokolovic will get the top of the lineup. Angel Pagan, Joe Panik, and Buster Posey.
I think it's interesting to note, regardless of what happens, Dan, how powerful the Cubs are going into postseason play. Since division play started in 1995, and since that year, I can think of no other team that was as well balanced from a starting pitching standpoint. The closer in Aroldis Chapman now, the myriad ways they can get on base, strike with power, with speed, relentless base running, good defense.
I will say this, though, and I'd be interested to see what you think. And I mean this with all due respect. They're the Cubs. And when I say that, the pressure on that team, and I don't care all the other teams that can make it in the playoffs, the pressure on that team this year is huge. They are expected to win. That's the same pressure that was there at the beginning of the year, and the reason they're going to win over 100 games in all probability. Catch made by Piscotty. And I understand that postseason play is different than the regular season. And I mean, things can happen. Who saw the New York Mets with their stingy pitching last year, sweeping 4 from the Cubs? I don't think anybody did. No. But they're a better team this year, and they can beat you in more ways than one, more than any other team. I would agree wholeheartedly with you. They're the most balanced team from starting pitching, closer, middle relief. The fact that they have flexibility in their lineup. Bryant can play 6 different positions. Zobrist is all over the place. Yeah. I mean, you know, righty-lefty matchups, all those things. But Addison Russell will have over 100 RBIs as a shortstop, for crying out loud. But we have seen it, you know, so many times. The pressure, though, in Chicago with that team is different than any other team that gets in. No other manager will diffuse the pressure like Joe Madden. If he doesn't, there'll be more pressure on Madden next year. Because if they don't win it this year, I mean, to me, and I'll stick by that, I mean, they're the strongest, deepest, broadest, better chance of winning team since 1995 that I've seen. I mean, across the board. And if they succumb to the pressure, that's the only way they're going to lose. Can it happen? You bet it can. Big night for Posey, 4 for 4 in this all-important game. 3 singles and a double. 2 outs and nobody on. And Posey hits a high fly ball to left. Brandon Moss is there. Sokolovic, a scoreless bottom of the 8th, sends us to the 9th. And Cueto will try to finish it off in game 1 when we come back to San Francisco. So Johnny Cueto is sent down 14 in a row. You touched upon it earlier. Hungo just mentioned that in the hit. In a way, this has been kind of an easy game for Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, you're right.
The at-bats have been, from his perspective, efficient in terms of just, boom, 1, 2, maybe 3 pitches.
Yeah, he is a very, very crafty right-handed pitcher. And usually you don't apply the word crafty to right-handers.
Yeah.
But he is certainly all of that. He knows what he's doing on the mound.
0-1 pitch to Moss. 0-2. Moss is fly to center. He is struck out and grounded out. Cueto has struck out 6 tonight. Well, we saw it in Cincinnati time and again. This guy can flat out pitch.
Yes, he can.
Did not have great numbers with Kansas City. But twice in the playoffs and the World Series, he had big starts and he came through. And from the Royals' perspective, you say, well, not great numbers, but when it counted on the biggest stage, it was worth it. Got us to a championship. The shift on here for Moss. Big crowd excited about what they're seeing here from Cueto. In a row. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. The last complete game for Johnny Cueto against St. Louis was in 2011. And it was a 1-0 loss. And of all people, Mark Hamilton with a pinch hit single. And that picked up the RBI, and the Cardinals won the game 1-0. Molina, one of the hits tonight. He's jammed, popped up behind home plate and out of play.
You think about it, Dan. I mean, in this day and age, with pitch counts, bullpens involvement, 5 complete games is unbelievable for a starter. And that's how many he would have if he completes this game.
Well, from the Giants' perspective, this is exactly what they needed. They didn't want to go to their bullpen. Their bullpen has been much maligned this year, certainly recently. And Cueto has come out and given Bruce Bochy exactly what they needed.
Cardinals have played 8 innings tonight. They have scored, I beg your pardon, they have hits in 2 innings. The 3rd and the 4th. You can't win like that unless you get a monumental pitching performance by your pitcher. And that didn't happen tonight.
And the 0-2. Now, if he would have rung up Molina there,
he would have been gone.
Yeah,
you're right. Thinking right along with you, partner.
Pretty much the identical pitch that got him out last time.
Yeah, Yachty called out on a similar pitch the time before.
Ground ball deep in the hole. Crawford. Tough play. Makes it look easy. That is some play right there.
He is among the best defenders in the major leagues. Brandon Crawford.
Knows who's running, knows he can use the grass.
Right.
Matt Adams, the final hope for the Cardinals. He'll pinch hit here in the ninth. 16 in a row here for Cueto. Johnny Cueto, our Budweiser player of the game, 8 2/3, 5 hits, a couple of runs, both were earned. Walked one, and he struck out 7. The 2-0. Adams with a fly ball, and this will do it. 17 in a row to end this game for Johnny Cueto. He goes the distance. The final of 6-2, and the Giants take game 1. Two hours and 33 minutes. Cueto pitches a gem here in game number 1.
Oh, Danny, baseball games are won by opportunities, myriad opportunities. The Cardinals offense did not give themselves a lot of opportunities to beat Cueto tonight.
So it's on to the post-game show. Final of 6-2. Cueto goes the distance. And the post-game show. Scott Mormon and the Mad Hungarian comes your way next.